Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, August 9th. Shout out to Oz and DJ Randall. Their podcast is Opinions While Black. You can hear it on Mondays, Spotify on Mondays. I have taken their NSWF that my podcast might not be uh n- not it might not be safe for whites, but I hope it is. But if it's not, I don't care. Trying to be nice here. So my message yesterday was canceled because I had some over the top statements. I do apologize for that. I see anything that's real positive when we're talking about something that's really under the subsurface going on. You don't want me to speak of, so I won't. So I just want to go back to the things that we talked about on yesterday, the things that I know need to have work. So there, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got about 9 agendas that we should be focused on, that the Democratic Party should be really focused on, and are in the process of currently getting legislation that will get us through these 8 or 9 references or focuses that we need to keep our following on. So the first one, because we're still just trying to get to school now, so I might make it real plain in the southern states. Your segregation academies are still in play. They are in Texas and other southern states. Their agenda is to make sure that their children only understand the white heritage, that they support white nationalists or white separate supremacists, because their focus is to continue to teach their children about being white. So we haven't done anything. These segregation academies still exist, they still flourish. And rarely do you find people of color in them. The second thing we need to just keep our ears uh, hearing about HR 4. I'm sorry, let me get this straight. Yes, we need to keep our focus on HR 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. HR 4 hasn't passed the Senate, I don't think. May have gotten out of the House, and it went party line, Democrat versus Republicans. But the HR 4 is the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. We need to work to get this act signed and into law so that we can prevent many of these 361 or more voter suppressionist laws or legislation that's out there to restrict our ability to vote. So we want to keep H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act, in front of us. We want to keep H.R. 1280, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act of 2021. Now, the 117th Congress passed it, not out of the Senate, not out of the House for 2021. We need to keep the H.R. 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. It passed the 116th Congress, and those in Congress that voted against this bill, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, was Justin Amash, Amash, Thomas Massie, Massie, Ted Yoho, Yoho, and Louis Gohmert, Gohmert. These are 4 folk that call themselves Democrats that voted against the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act in the 116th Congress. We need to make sure that these four folks, when they run again, they don't have any oxygen. They lose. We need to keep the Senate Bill 3178 before us. This is the Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018. It has not passed the Senate. Voted on voted on the day of George Floyd's funeral, and Rand Paul was the one that stood up and voted against the bill. And so that shut that down. So the Senate Bill 3178, Justice for Lynching Victims of Lynching Act 2018, has not passed. So, like you shot me off yesterday, that's okay. Okay? We still have to keep our focus on these HR 1280, HR 35, HR 4, and Senate Bill 3178. Come on now. You know these should have been passed. For HR 4, I don't even know why I'm coming back to ask you for another right to vote. Black women got the right to vote in 1968. I dare you not tell me, oh, you don't want my vote. Ah, because you learned in 2020 when I go to the polls and vote for you. When brown women get up and go to the polls and vote for you. When these new dark brown individuals get up and go to the polls and vote for themselves, they're not voting for all of this nastiness. Well, let me rephrase that. We have the opportunity, beginning in 2022 and 2024 for sure, to reset the agendas of the Democratic mindset. We're going to have to come together. We're going to have to, though, who needs to come together? And this is my cry every time I do this podcast, is because women, WOMEN, a charge to keep we must have. Women, we need to put our big girl panties on, and we must consider joining forces for the improvement of material conditions in our communities. Women, black women, brown women, women of color. You're now introducing the dark brown woman, the white woman, the poor woman, the poor white woman, and you know who you are. And then poor women across the board whose life conditions have made them their life conditions have made them vulnerable. All of us need to get together to combat what's coming at us right now. Well, what do I mean by that? I mean, we women must begin to give a shit because they're not the glossy picture that they're trying to present to us should not be working. We women, all women should at this point in time, 2021, have the same vision. You must begin to protect us. That's all I'm saying. And women, you know who we are. Women, you know who you are. All of us need to be doing a better job. especially those of us that have children. We need to be doing a better job with these segregation academies. I dare you still send your kids to a segregated academy for them to just learn about white nationalism. My God. And you expect me not to see it and not to say anything about it. Well, I see it, and I'm saying, hey, we need to pause and rethink some things. Women, we need to come together and rethink some things. It's as simple as that. It doesn't get any better than that. And as I said yesterday, those individuals that have been in the Senate, in the Congress, in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, 34 years. In the Congress, you got Sheila Jackson Lee, Symphonia Thompson, Al Green. My God, you've been here for a minute. You've been in power for a minute. Okay? You have been in power for a minute, which means you've been in power for over 15 years. Don't make me start calling your names. Because in the 15, 20 years you've been in Congress, and Mitch McConnell has been there 34 years, the white agenda should not have any place in America right now, but it does. Agendas, agendas. What is the agenda? Well, as I said earlier, the H.R. 4, which is the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act, H.R. 35, which is the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, H.R. 1280 is the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. And then you have the Senate Bill 3178, the Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018. Now, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why we still are having to come front and center for some of these issues that are out there. As I go back and I look at the people that have been there a minute, or that have been there to create a non-inclusive opinion and view of what America is all about. Oh my God. For every person, Lord have mercy, just come on. Try to do better. You know, I don't understand. I don't understand why we're continuing to do the things that we do. But now I'm saying we need to check Dan Patrick, Greg Abbott, Lindsey Graham, Mark Meadows, John Boehner, Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, David Duke, white separatist, Newt Gingrich, Paul Ryan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kevin McCarthy, Meghan McCain, young girl, Candace Owens, young girl, my God, Laura Ingraham, young woman, my God, Meghan McCain, young woman, Ron DeSantis, Jesse Duplantis. Don't let me start talking about these poverty pimps. Jesse Duplantis, Kenneth Copeland, Bill Hagee, Matthew Hagee, or Hagee, Bill Hagee, Ed Young, Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar. We need to be talking about joining forces, man. to make sure we're looking positively at the HR 4. Why, why are we still laboring HR 4? The John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. Why are not all these people voting for this bill? What is wrong with you? Why is Tucker Carlson and Larry Elders and Ron Paul and Sophronia Thompson and Jesse, Josh Holland, why are these folk still having their input out here about how to handle issues that affect all of us? This is what I don't get. And this is why I keep asking for women. It's a charge to keep you have. You have so much going on right now for you. But when I say women, I mean all women. And I'm asking all women to please give a shit. Please just silently just get up and go back and do what you know you need to be doing to get help us get out of where we are. We're in a terrible fix right now. And I need you to help. Why help? Because look, voting rights are having a problem. You know you have more than 361 voter suppression laws, voter suppression legislation, voter suppression agendas that are already passing. And so they're already got the chokehold on who they are not going to allow to vote. And that would be anybody of color if they can get away with it. And the only thing that's going to make a difference is that all of us at the same time get up and keep going to the poll and voting for our best interest. So they all they're doing now is inputting voter suppression legislation, which means the way we went to vote, the way people of color went to vote in 2020 is not how we're going to have to go to vote in 2022 nor 2026. We're going to have to get there early, I guess, and stand in lines, I guess, because they're not going to believe that there could be another agenda out there if we just keep getting up and going and doing the same thing. So I'm asking all women, just women, let's join forces. Cannot the Gates and the Bezos and the what is Jay-Z? What is his last name? Oh, I don't know Beyonce's married name. Mm. Or Cardi B, I don't know your married name either. But you women that have had the opportunity to be involved in relationships where you did not have to worry about income, you've enjoyed the white privilege, and I'm not knocking you for that. But now we women, the rest of us women, need your help. We need you to support us. We need you to take a look at how they are aligning these voting rights amendments, agendas, uh, suppression legislation. You know you're wrong. You know that everybody that is eligible to vote deserves the right to vote. And you know there's nothing wrong with the election. It has never been stolen. It definitely wasn't stolen in 2022. And so now you're asking me in 2020, I'm sorry, 2020, 2020. But now you're asking me to vote for you in 2022 or 2024. Not if the same issues are going to come up. We need to have resolved HR 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. That should have already been voted on. It should already be in the minds of Senate and legislation. It just should be there. I'm having a hard time understanding why HR, what is it called now? Let me get it right. I'm having a hard time understanding why HR 35 haven't passed. That's the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. It hasn't passed. I'm sorry, HR 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, it hasn't passed either. So you can lynch me, you can kill me, and you can vote against my best interest, and you want me to be fine with it. Mm. Even the Senate Bill 3178, the Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018, it hasn't passed. Out of the Congress, not past the Senate. Mm. I'm just not, I don't understand what it is you don't want me to say. You've already checked me. So there's a lot of stuff that I can't say the way I normally would say it because, you coming in and you're listening, and I'm glad you're listening. Because I'm not trying to be out there all stupid and all. I'm trying to be productive. But you're going to have to do a little bit better. So women need to come together on the voting. They need to come together, and it sometimes I say it one way, and then other times I say it another way. But we need to come together on the HR 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. We need to get it passed. But for my folk that have been there more than 20 or 30, like Mitch McConnell, 34 years, look, man, we do not have mm, we need to work on our crime bill. Hmm. Yeah. And we need criminal reform. Yeah. So we need to reform, relook at our crime legislation and let me say this again. We need to take a look at our criminal reform agendas. And we're going to have to take a look at gun legislation. And I know everybody wants to keep the Second Amendment. I get it. Right to bear arms. But what you don't really need to do is show me your right to bear arms where your cars are armored or you walking in stores with your guns that I can see. It's not fair. And guys, it pissed me off yesterday. You're not being fair. So women, we need to come together with this thing called voting, voter rights, voter suppression, voter rights, HR 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. We need to take another look at HR 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. We need to take a look at HR 1280, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act of 2021. And we need to get some help on the Senate Bill 3178, the Justice for Lynching Victims Act 2018. Now, you would think that I should sit here every day and tell you guys how happy it is I am to be in America and that everything that we're doing here is right. And I'm sorry it's not. So, women, we're going to have to join forces. We're going to have to join forces with the rest of us. You got me stuck on voter rights. You got me stuck on gun legislation. You have me stuck on criminal reform. You got me stuck on climate. You got me stuck on, oh my goodness, women's rights. Mm. And I'm asking women, all of us have a charge to keep. Women, we need to put our big girl panties on, and we must consider joining forces. Who needs to come together? Black women, white women, brown women, this new category of dark brown women, poor women, all women of color, poor white women, and you know who you are. And women, poor women across the board, whose life conditions have made them vulnerable. All of us are going to have to come together. All of these women, all of us are going to have to come together to create some improvements for our lives and the lives of our children or the lives of our families. And we must begin to give a shit. We must begin to know our worth. And it is all women, not just one woman. It's all of us. And all of us deserve the right to handle and be in control of our bodies. So, women, all of us, all women, we're going to have to come together on voting rights. We're going to have to come together on gun legislation. We're going to have to come together on these trying to reverse Roe v. Wade. Mm. We need to come together on these economic insecurities. All of our women are not healthy right now. I'm just talking about health, economic health. I'm not talking about Medicare, medical illness. I'm talking about just $7.50 an hour is not going to adequately feed a family of four or a single woman with two children. $7.50 an hour won't get them very far, and you know that. So I don't know why we're still having this conversation about economic insecurities. You know who you're making insecure, and you know how you're doing it, and it is subtle. And nobody wants to put it out there in real terms because real terms it becomes too ugly. But just say you've been ugly. You got ugly. You have to take a look at the Supreme Court judges. You know we need to expand the Supreme Court. You know the way. Look, mm, I don't want to kick off the platform. So when I begin to my rant, I need to take my rants down a minute. So I'm coming down because I was about to go there. So you folk understand this is not as free as you want it to be. There's always someone listening. So I have to make sure that the listener understands I mean no harm. I'm just saying the Democrats are not doing their job. And I'm just one 75-year-old woman. I am just one of 331 million people living in the United States. They're saying the Democrats are not doing a good job, that the Republicans are cleaning up. They're creating laws, they're creating legislation, they're creating agendas that restrict women's rights, that restrict voting rights, that restrict gun legislation, that restrict COVID concerns, that we restrict economic insecurity, and we are going to continue to flood the Supreme Court with people that do not and are not there for the just. I thought the Supreme Court was where we came to hear cases for all. But no, now it's partisan too. Okay, we're going to need to come together on climate control. Look, these issues are strangling us right now. And we've had some folk in Congress for a pretty long time And so, how come these bills have come and not been passed? I don't understand. I don't understand how we're still dealing with the need to vote. I don't understand. 68, they gave me my right. How are you trying to take it from me now? And I'm going to go back to my discussion in 1921 when white women were supposed to vote, so did black men. Okay? And like I said on yesterday, how it was served. Black and white men served when they went to supposed to vote. They were counted as a slave by the slave owner, and that's how they got to vote. So you got 100 men that have 100 100 plantations, and each of these plantations had 100 men. They would just politely add these 100 black men to the white man, and this is how they were able to get their votes. Strangling women. We didn't get into the process until 1921, and people of color didn't get into the process until 1968. So now I don't know why they they want me to be careful in how I say what I say. But you know you've been nasty for a long time. You've been nasty since 1950, I know. You've been nasty since uh what is man? Looking right at him. I'm sorry, I had a mental lapse right there. So let me get on. You know who you are. I'm 31 minutes in, and all I can say is you know who you are. You know who you're not voting in the interest of all of us, for the betterment of all our communities. And so, since you will not, we women, come on, ladies, from the Melinda Gates and Bezos female to the Cardi B and Lizzo and Make, come on, all of us, all women need to come together to handle our business, gun legislation, voting rights, criminal reform, COVID advancements, economic insecurities, these Supreme Court justices, and climate control. Women, we must come together on these issues. They're choking us right now. And if we don't join forces, we will not be able to breathe. And you know uh uh I'm sorry. You know my Susan B. Anthony has always said, hey man, you can only go so far with me, and this is not a direct quote of Susan B. Anthony, but you can only do so much with me that I let you do. Well, let me give her a real quote. She said a long time ago that a man cannot govern a woman. A man cannot govern a woman without her consent. So I'm saying, look, just look, the men are not voting for our betterment. Women, they're not voting for our health. Women, they're not. They're not voting in our best interest. So what we have to do, we women have to do, oh my God, is come together and join forces and realize if we all made our voices known, even under the crazy conditions that some people like the Republicans are trying to put in front of us, it won't survive because we know there needs to be a greater agenda. We need to keep focus on H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. We need to keep our focus on H.R. 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. We need to keep our focus on H.R. 1280, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. And we need to keep our focus on Senate Bill 3178, the Justice for Lynching Victims Act 2018. Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018. Look, did we know that we haven't passed the George Floyd Policing Act? We haven't done squat with H.R. 1280. It's just laboring around. We haven't done anything with H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. It's just lingering. We haven't done anything with H.R. 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. Nothing. It passes the House, but not the Senate. And then there were some House people that voted against it. Omar, Massey, Yoho, Gomert. Okay? These individuals are voting against the interest of women. You don't want me to even talk about, you won't even recognize the segregated academies that you've established. I don't understand. But again, I am just imploring women, all women, hear me now. Women of color, this is a charge to keep, we must have. We need to put our big girl panties on. And we must consider joining forces. All women must consider joining forces for the improvement. I want all women to come together for the improvement of the material conditions in our communities. My God, come on, ladies. I own my body. No man can tell me how to use my body or what to do with it. So women's rights, bodily anatomy or reproduction autonomy, it's mine. It has nothing to do with a man. Nothing. So we're all coming together for the improvement of the material conditions in our community. So who's coming together? All across the board, white women. All across the board, black women. All across the board, brown women. All across the board, dark brown women. All across the board, women of color. All across the board, poor women. All across the board, poor women across the board whose life conditions have made them vulnerable. All of us need to get together and help all the women that we know get to the polls or start calling their senators, their congress people, and even the Supreme Court. Write to them, call them, and share with them. No, 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 no. We women speak for ourselves. I know you don't want to do it because you haven't done it so far. But if we want to see a good 2025, 2024, 2022, we're going to have to get up and make some things happen. The thing in California, I just hope everybody in California has to do what we got to do now. No matter how difficult they make it, we got to get up and find ourselves going to a poll. Okay? Women, all women, we must begin to give a shit. We've got to begin to give a shit, which means we've got to put our big girl panties on, and it means we're going to have to join forces. We women, all of us are going to have to come together and join forces in order to improve our material conditions in our families and in our communities. It's just that simple. Women, we must come together to make all of our interest known, which means we're looking at how you look at me with voter registration. I'm looking at you how you're looking at gun legislation. I'm looking at why is it, mm, Lord have mercy, so I don't want to rant again. But why is it I still have to worry about the anti-lynch? Why are you still lynching me? Why has not the George Floyd even police acting? Let me get it right because I don't want to get wrong. Why has not the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021 passed? Why not? Women, just keep. Why has HR 1280, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021, why has this not passed? My God, why is HR 4 not passed? You know, HR 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. HR 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. Do you realize how long I've been asking you as a black person to stop lynching my men and my boys? To stop shooting our men and our boys. And you know they unarmed because you know you don't almost got all the guns. So why you still taking shots at us? And now you think you can keep doing this and we women are not going to come together to protect their children? You got us wrong now. We women need to come together and give a shit about some things. What do we women need to come together to give a shit about? HR 4, the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act, HR 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, HR 1280, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021, and the Senate Bill 3178, Justice for Victims of Lynching Act of 2018, has not passed. My God, like have not passed, guys. So I'm coming back again. Women, come on, ladies. You know, black women have no rights that a white must respect. Like I said, you're still killing my men, you're still killing my children. And you think I'm not supposed to recognize that? No man is good enough to govern any woman without her consent. Susan B. Anthony. No man is good enough to govern any woman without her consent. So now, women, I'm asking that you come together because, as I've said often, racism has no silver lining. And we cannot work our way out of racism. As long as these people keep getting up and making it a black and a white issue, we're going to have to, women, we're just going to do our jobs. We women, you know who we are. We women know who we are. And you know what we have to do. You know, we must begin this narrative that the Republicans have about COVID is just that, and we're not saying anything about it. They're not talking about it. You know they're doing the wrong thing. You know it's wrong. And so we women are going to have to come together across the board. Women, women, come alive. Choose to make things better in all our communities. And women, we are 50% of this population. imagination. We literally can make it happen. But every woman has to get up and stand up now. And there's so many of us out there. I'm just asking you to have a compass that's going to invite everybody under your tent. Women, black women, and white women, and brown women, and dark brown women, if you want to call them like that, and women of color, and poor women. You know who you are, and you know we need to come together to work on the vaccine. You know, women, we're going to have to come together to push the agenda for all the women that have not been vaccinated. We have a job to do. We have some work. And I've spoken for 45 minutes. I don't want to go to 60 minutes. Let me just say, women, we have a lot of work to do. The new census data suggests there's been a great decrease in the white population. Okay, huh. But what you're going to have to understand, man, you got to do way better. Because the goal is not to be the best, because the best doesn't exist. The goal is to learn, and so we're learning. Be anxious for nothing, and keep trying to share our humanity. Women, 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 women. We must come together to keep sharing our humanity. We must strive to be a master at whatever our craft is. But women, in the end, we are going to have to join forces, put our big girl panties on, and work in the best interest of us, far as in our family, on climate control, the number of Supreme Court justices that we have, these economic insecurities that our families are experiencing, this criminal reform that we need to look at, the gun legislation that we need to review, the voting rights that you are creating legislation and suppression rules for, and then my women's rights. Got to get out of my body, man. You don't own this. This vessel is mine. And I dictate what I'm going to do with my vessel, not you. And you need to understand that. 'Cause, I'm just asking women, we women, to come together. Just to come together. To share our humanity. To teach men that we are not 50 states masquerading as one democracy. No, we are 50 states as a democracy. And we've had this democracy for 245 years. So now we have look, racism has no silver lining. We need to take a look at the white nationalist or white supremacist agenda and white nationalist agenda. It does not work in all of our best interests, women. So 50 minutes in, women, white women and black women and brown women and dark brown women and women of color and poor women and women across the board whose ideals, desires, wants became vulnerable because they were not met. We've got to do a better job, and we can do a better job. And I'm just asking all women to just rethink some things. Look at House Bill 4. Look at House Bill 35. Look at House Bill 1280. Look at Senate Bill 3178. These are all bills that restrict hmm, the material conditions of just the African American community. Okay? The George Floyd Justice Police, man, come on now. You had your neck on hit, you had your foot on his neck for 9 minutes and 42 seconds. And do you want me to think that he wasn't a human being when I saw him breathe his last breath? Saw him, not heard about it. Come on now. The voting rights advance, come on now. And why do you still have the right to lynch me? So H.R. 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, and Senate Bill 3178, Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018. These things, we women will come together to make sure we make a change. Lord have mercy. Just please keep sharing your humanity. Keep telling your truth. I've been sharing my narratives for a minute now. I own what I'm saying. I stand by what I'm saying because I've learned that it's just a good way to rethink some things. I say all the time, I wake up 75 years now unapologetically black. There ain't nothing you can do about it. I got up this morning, oh, I'm black. And God is the giver of my black life. And God does not make mistakes. So what you gonna do, folks? I'm here, okay? And I'm a woman. And in 52 minutes, I've asked all women, us, all of us, to put our big girl panties on and join forces to get rid of HR 4. It needs to be out. It just needs to be an act. HR 35, it just needs to be an act. HR 1280, it just needs to be an act. Senate Bill 3178, it just needs to be an act. You've got to stop your voter suppression. You've got to stop just policing and killing. And you've got to stop lynching. I'm serious. So all women need to come together and join forces. And my women that have enjoyed white privilege all these years, you are going to have to give a shit about the rest of the women. Okay? You have enjoyed and I look at Selma Hayek, Selena Gomez, I look at y'all every day. And in your wearing of clothes that are, I would say we're racist, but that's because I'm old. But y'all always talking about what you got and how you do it, how you looking up. You need to come over on our side to where we're not inhaling as much luxury as you are. And I know women, it's going to be hard because when I say all women, it has to be all those. The Kellyanne Conway's got to come over on my side. Okay? Because it's just the right thing to do. I'm just saying, please, let's just come together. Let our yes be yes. Let our no be no. Let us join forces to keep humanity a-going. Human kindness needs to be overflowing. I don't? Well, I guess I do. So, I'm going to end again by saying, women, Women, we must come together about these segregated academies now. It cannot be an academy just for you, where you send your children to learn about their white heritage and to make sure that white children, when they grow up, they continue to have your white agenda. I'm asking you to rethink that. I'm asking all women to rethink H.R. 1280, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. I'm asking you to rethink H.R. 35, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. I'm asking you to rethink Senate Bill 3178, Justice for Victims of Lynching Act 2018. I'm asking you to rethink HR 4. We need to start making some telephone calls to somebody right now. Okay? Just we're out of time. I need you guys to pray, breathe, play, rest, and repeat when necessary. Someone said a long time ago, when life is hard, we grow. Okay. Life is hard. I'm asking all the women, and you know who we are, and you know who you are, and you know this includes my LGBT or yeah, the LGBT law rights. Yeah. We all have rights. I'm going on 60 minutes, which has made it real. I hope I've said everything that is all right. Haven't ruffled any feathers, but our children are watching how we navigate these relationships with people outside of themselves. Our children are looking at us. And so, women, we're going to have to be the protectors. You just have some work to do. And I apologize, but this is just the charge to keep we have, that all women are going to have to come together, no matter your race. All of us are going to have to come together to improve the material conditions of our lives. So let's take a look at HR 4 again. Let's take a look at HR 35 again. Let's take a look at HR 1280 again. Let's take a look at Senate Bill 3178 again. And let's take another look at these segregation academies and how do they exist in 2020. Kelly Clarkson always says, have a great day. And if it's not, change it. And like I say, I love doing this because I'm able to get a lot of stuff off my chest that I've had stored up for 75 years. And I'm just beginning to come in and try to say that, hey, a man cannot govern any woman without her consent. And we're going to have to come back and take charge of our lives and protect our children and our families by being very vigilant with climate control and how we deal with it, being very diligent at how the Supreme Court justices get where they get, and the concept of expanding the Supreme Court. All women have to give a shit about economic insecurities. We've got to learn to share. We women have got to learn to share. The criminal reform, we got to protect our children. The gun legislation. We need to put in some legislation now to protect our children or families that find themselves out in the open. And Lord have mercy. We have to protect ourselves with these women's rights. We got to protect ourselves. No man has the right to be in my body. It's not his. What I do with mine is mine, and I should hold on to it. So, oh, Jesus. Every day I get up and I see the same stuff. But God don't like ugly. He just don't like ugly. Okay? You just been ugly a tad too long. So, this is me. It's not a rant. I hope everything was on the safe side today. I'm just asking women, oh, women. Oh my God, I'm 75. And all you youngs, I'm asking you to look at and start joining some forces to make the material conditions in everybody's communities a little bit better. It's my prayer. It's my plea every day I get up and do these podcasts. So, yours in liberty,